Captain Ji-hoon Park stood on the bridge of the KHNS Horizon, staring at the view screen with barely contained excitement. After 20 years of exploring empty space, his ship had finally detected something extraordinary. Electromagnetic signals, artificial patterns, organized communication networks spanning multiple planets around a distant binary star system. "Captain, I'm reading at least 14 different signal frequencies," Lieutenant Daeho Shin said from the communication station. The young officer's hands moved rapidly across his console, his eyes bright with wonder. "This is definitely an advanced civilization. Maybe even more advanced than us." Ji-hoon felt his heart race. In all of human history, this was the moment everyone had dreamed about. First contact with alien life. He glanced at his second-in-command, Commander Mira Choi, who stood beside him with her arms crossed. Unlike everyone else on the bridge, Mira looked worried. "We should be careful, Captain," Mira said quietly. "We don't know anything about them. They could be hostile. That's why we follow protocol," Ji-hoon replied with a reassuring smile. "We broadcast peaceful intentions. We show them we're intelligent and friendly. Every simulation Earth ran predicted that any civilization advanced enough for interstellar communication would be peaceful. War becomes pointless when you have unlimited resources in space." Mira didn't look convinced, but she nodded. Ji-hoon turned to Daeho. "Lieutenant, broadcast the first contact package. Mathematical sequences, images of Earth, peaceful greetings in every format we have." "Yes, sir. Transmitting now." The bridge fell silent as they waited. Dr. Hyun Kim, the ship's xenobiologist, practically bounced on her feet with excitement. She had spent her entire career hoping for this moment. "This is incredible," she whispered. "We're about to meet another intelligent species. Everything changes today." Ji-hoon thought about his wife and children back on Earth. He had promised them he would return safely. He always kept his promises. This mission was supposed to be routine exploration, mapping systems in the Orion Arm. Instead, it would become the most important voyage in human history. "Captain," Daeho's voice snapped him back to attention. 3 massive energy signatures just appeared on sensors. "They're huge, sir. Each one is at least 5 times our size." The view screen shifted to show 3 enormous warships materializing from faster-than-light travel. They were unlike anything humans had ever built. Dark angular hulls covered in what looked like organic armor. Weapon ports bristled along their sides. The ships moved with predatory grace, surrounding the horizon in a loose triangle formation. "My God," Dr. Hyun breathed. "They're beautiful. And terrifying." "Shields up," Mira ordered immediately. "All hands to stations. This is not a drill." Alarms blared throughout the ship as the crew scrambled to battle stations. Ji-hoon raised his hand. "Wait, let's not appear aggressive. Keep shields at minimum power. Continue broadcasting peaceful intentions." "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Daeho said. "It's in their language, but our computer is translating. It's crude, but we can understand most of it." "Put it through." A harsh, clicking voice filled the bridge. The translation came through a moment later in flat, emotionless tones. "Unknown vessel. You have entered space claimed by the Vacran sovereignty. All unknown species must submit to Vacran authority immediately. Power down your vessel and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in destruction." Ji-hoon's stomach tightened. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. He stepped forward, addressing the aliens directly. "This is Captain Ji-hoon Park of the human exploration vessel Horizon. We come in peace. We didn't know this space was claimed. We're explorers, not invaders. We request the opportunity for peaceful dialogue." There was a long pause. Then the alien voice returned, now with an edge of what sounded like amusement. "Humans, another primitive species stumbling into space. Your vessel is pathetic. Your weapons are minimal. You have no claim to rights in this sector. Submit or be destroyed. You have 60 seconds. Mira moved beside Ji-hoon, her voice urgent. "Captain, we need to run now. Our FTL drive can jump us out of here." "If we run, they'll think we're hostile," Ji-hoon said. "I need to make them understand. We have 147 people on this ship. Families, scientists. We're not soldiers." He turned back to the communication channel. "We cannot surrender our ship and crew to an unknown force. We request time to contact our homeworld and arrange proper diplomatic protocols. We mean you no harm." The response was immediate and terrible. "Defiance. Your species must learn respect. Consider this your education." The 3 Vacran warships opened fire simultaneously. Plasma bolts, brilliant and deadly, streaked across space. The Horizon's shields flared and collapsed in seconds. The entire ship shuddered violently as the first impacts hit the hull. "Shields down!" someone screamed. "Hull breaches on decks 3, 5, and 7. "Return fire," Mira shouted. "All weapons fire at will." The Horizon's defensive weapons, designed only to destroy asteroids and debris, fired uselessly at the massive warships. The aliens didn't even bother dodging. Their shields absorbed every shot without effort. Engineering reports primary power failing. Deho called out over the chaos. Life support is failing on multiple decks. Jihoon grabbed his command chair as another impact nearly threw him to the floor. His ship was dying. His crew was dying. "All hands, abandon ship. Get to the escape pods now." Mira was already moving. "Get the black box into a stealth probe. We need to get the data back to Earth. They need to know what happened here." She ran to a console and began transferring data at emergency speed. Throughout the ship, crew members ran for their lives. Escape pods began launching, small vessels carrying desperate survivors away from the dying Horizon. But the Vecren weren't finished. Their weapons tracked each pod with casual precision. One by one, the escape pods exploded in brief flashes of light. The aliens were hunting them down deliberately. "No," Dr. Hyun whispered, watching the slaughter on her screen. Tears ran down her face. "They're killing everyone, even the ones who surrendered." Deho activated the emergency broadcast system, recording everything. "This is Lieutenant Deho Shin of the KHNS Horizon. We made peaceful contact with an alien species called the Vecren. They demanded our surrender. When we asked for time to negotiate, they opened fire. They're destroying our escape pods, hunting down survivors. We were explorers. We came in peace. They murdered us for entering their space." His voice broke. "Tell Earth. Tell them what happened here. Tell them the bridge exploded." Plasma fire tore through the command center, ripping apart consoles and walls. Jihoon felt a moment of intense heat, then nothing. Commander Mira died at her station, still trying to protect her crew. Dr. Hyun died in the science bay, her dreams of peaceful contact becoming her final nightmare. Lieutenant Deho died mid-transmission, but his message had already been sent. The stealth probe ejected from the Horizon just before the ship broke apart. Tiny, almost invisible, it contained everything. Sensor recordings, communication logs, Deho's final message. The probe's quantum drive activated, and it vanished into faster-than-light space, heading for the nearest human outpost. The KHNS Horizon exploded in a brilliant fireball. Debris scattered across space. 147 men and women died in those terrible minutes. 147 souls extinguished by an arrogant enemy who saw them as nothing more than primitive nuisances. Aboard the lead Vecren warship, Commander Thexler observed the destruction with satisfaction. Another inferior species eliminated. He dictated a brief report for the Sovereignty's records. Encountered unknown vessel from primitive species calling themselves humans. Vessel refused submission. Vessel destroyed. No Vecren casualties. Continuing patrol. Thexlar didn't give the humans another thought. In his 2,000 years of service, he had eliminated 47 different species. Humans were just another entry in a long list. Forgettable, irrelevant, primitive. He had no idea he had just made the worst mistake in galactic history. The stealth probe traveled through the dark between stars, carrying its terrible message. It would take 6 months to reach human space, 6 months for the galaxy to change forever. Humanity had reached out with an open hand. The Vecren had answered with violence. Now humanity would respond with something the Vecren had never seen before, something they couldn't imagine, something they would learn to fear, the fury of a peaceful species pushed too far. The probe arrived at Research Station Kepler on a cold morning 6 months after the Horizon died. Technician Jisoo was running routine checks when her scanner detected the tiny vessel limping into range. At first she thought it was space debris. Then she saw the identification codes. "Station Commander," she called out, her voice shaking. "It's from the Horizon. The ship that went missing 6 months ago." Within an hour, the probe's contents were downloaded and analyzed. Within 2 hours, the station commander was on emergency channels to Earth. Within 4 hours, the footage reached the United Nations Security Council. By that evening, every human being in the solar system had seen Lieutenant Deho's final transmission. The world stopped. 12 billion people watched in horror as the Horizon was destroyed. They watched escape pods being hunted down like animals. They listened to Daeho's desperate final words. They saw peaceful explorers murdered for the crime of existing in the wrong place. Admiral Eunji Han watched the footage in her office on Earth. She watched it 10 times, memorizing every detail. The Iron Admiral, they called her. 52 years old, veteran of every conflict humanity had fought in space. She had seen war before. But this was different. This was extinction-level thinking from the enemy. These aliens had killed humans like they were bugs. She called an emergency meeting of the Defense Council. General Taiyang Yu arrived first, his face grim. Dr. Narration came next, the weapons researcher already carrying data tablets filled with analysis. One by one, Earth's military leadership gathered. "We're going to war," Yunji said simply. "The Security Council will vote tomorrow, but the outcome is certain. Humanity has never been united like this. Every nation wants blood. Our job is to make sure we deliver it efficiently." General Taiyang pulled up a star map. The Vecran sovereignty controls approximately 40 star systems. They have military superiority in this region of space. They've dominated for 2,000 years. Every species they've encountered either submitted or was destroyed. "Then we'll be the first to make them submit," Yunji replied coldly. "Dr. Song, what did you learn from the Horizon sensor data?" Nari stood and activated a holographic display. The Vecran have advanced technology, but it's specialized for conventional warfare. Strong shields, powerful plasma weapons, faster than light drives. However, they're predictable. Their tactics haven't changed in centuries because they've never needed to change. They've never faced an enemy that could adapt and innovate, so we give them something they've never seen, General Taiyang said. "We make them afraid." Over the next 3 months, humanity transformed. Shipyards that built cargo vessels now constructed warships. Scientists who studied peaceful applications of quantum physics now weaponized their discoveries. The entire species focused on a single goal, making the Vecran pay for what they had done. Dr. Nari led the weapons development program. She created quantum disruption missiles that could disable enemy FTL drives, trapping them in normal space. She designed gravitic mines that generated micro-black holes consuming anything nearby. She developed nanite swarms that could disassemble ships at the molecular level. Every weapon was designed to exploit the weaknesses the Horizon sensors had identified. The fleet took shape rapidly. 50 warships built in record time. The pride of the fleet was the KHNS Retribution, a massive carrier bristling with experimental weapons. Its captain was Jiwan Li, a 36-year-old tactical genius with cold eyes and a personal reason for fighting. Her brother had been an engineer on the Horizon. Jiwan walked through the Retribution's hangar bay, inspecting fighters and bombers. Her crew watched her with a mixture of respect and fear. She had a reputation for being ruthless in simulations, never accepting defeat, always finding the winning strategy no matter how brutal. "Captain Lee," Admiral Yunji's voice came through her communicator. "Report to the briefing room. It's time." The briefing room was packed with ship commanders, 50 captains representing 50 warships. Each vessel was named after a crew member who died on the Horizon. It was a deliberate choice. Every captain would fight knowing they carried a fallen hero's name. Admiral Yunji stood at the front, her presence commanding absolute attention. 6 months ago, 147 humans went into space as explorers. They carried no weapons of conquest. They sought peaceful contact with alien life. For this, they were murdered, hunted down like animals by an empire that sees us as primitive and worthless. She activated the display, showing the Vecran star systems. The Vecran sovereignty has existed for 2 millennia. They believe they are invincible. They believe we are insignificant. Tomorrow we teach them they are wrong on both counts. Phase 1. We strike their border installation simultaneously. Fast, brutal, then we vanish. We want them confused. Phase 2. We hunt their patrol fleets. We make space unsafe for them. We make them afraid to leave their worlds. Phase 3. We bring them to battle on our terms and we break them completely. General Taiyang stepped forward. This isn't just about defeating them militarily. It's about psychological warfare. Every species in this region watches the Vecran. If we break them, we send a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity is not prey. Humanity is not weak. And humanity does not forgive. Jiwan felt electricity run through the room. Every captain understood. This was more than revenge. This was humanity announcing its arrival on the galactic stage with fire and fury. The next day, Earth held a memorial. Every city, every space station, every colony participated. 12 billion people stood silent for 147 seconds, one for each crew member lost. Images of the fallen scrolled across screens worldwide. Captain Ji-hoon Park, Commander Mira Choi, Dr. Hyun Kim, Lieutenant Dae-ho Shin, all 147 names, faces, and stories. Then came the launch. 50 warships lifted from Earth's orbital yards, their engines burning bright against the darkness. Billions watched from below. This was the largest military fleet humanity had ever assembled. They formed up in perfect formation, a sight of terrible beauty. Ji-won stood on the bridge of the Retribution looking at her crew. Today we carry more than weapons. We carry the hopes of every human who ever looked at the stars and dreamed of peace. The Vecren took that dream and destroyed it. They thought we were weak because we came in peace. She paused, her voice growing harder. They thought wrong. We come in peace because we are strong. And when we come in war, we come as a storm. Her crew erupted in fierce approval. Every person on every ship felt the same burning purpose. They weren't conquering. They were avenging. They weren't invading. They were delivering justice. Admiral Yoonji gave the final order from Earth. All ships, this is High Command. You are authorized for faster-than-light jump. Operation Righteous Fury is active. Show them what humanity can do. Show them what happens when they murder our people. Make them remember the horizon. Acknowledged, Ji-won replied. She turned to her navigation officer. Set course for Vecren border space. Maximum speed. Before the jump, Ji-won activated a wideband transmission aimed at Vecren territory. She broadcast in their language, words translated from the horizon's encounter. The message was simple and terrifying. Vecren sovereignty. You destroyed our ship. You murdered our people. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. Humanity is coming. We are not coming for your territory. We are not coming for your resources. We are coming for you. Every ship you sent, every warrior who pulled the trigger, every commander who gave the order. We know your faces. We know your names. And we are coming. The transmission ended. The fleet's FTL drives activated in perfect synchronization, tearing holes in space-time. 50 warships vanished in flashes of light, leaving Earth behind. In Vecren space, Commander Thexelar received the transmission at his command post. He listened once, then laughed. His subordinates looked confused. Sir, should we alert High Command? One asked. No, Thexelar replied dismissively. Primitive species always make empty threats when they realize they're outmatched. Humans are no different. If they're foolish enough to enter our space, we'll destroy them, like we destroyed their first ship. They'll learn respect or they'll learn extinction. He filed the transmission in the archives and forgot about it. Just another primitive species making noise. Nothing to worry about. He had no idea that in 3 weeks his entire understanding of the universe would be shattered. He had no idea that the weak, primitive species he had dismissed was about to become his worst nightmare. The storm was coming, and it had a name, humanity. Commander Hakjun Baek's ship, the KHNS Silent Fury, materialized in Vecren space like a ghost. The destroyer's quantum stealth systems bent light around its hull, making it invisible to conventional sensors. For 3 days, Hakjun and his crew watched the massive military depot orbiting a red giant star. They counted ships, mapped defensive patterns, identified weak points. 12 Vecren warships, his tactical officer reported. 3 capital ships, 9 cruisers. Standard patrol formation. They're not expecting trouble. Why would they? Hakjun replied quietly. They've never lost a battle in this sector. They think they're invincible. He studied the display, calculating angles and timing. Launch gravitic mines. Pattern delta. Time detonation for simultaneous impact. The Silent Fury released 12 small spheres, each no larger than a basketball. They drifted silently through space, positioning themselves near the Vecren ships. The aliens never detected them. Their sensors were designed to spot large threats, not tiny objects that barely registered on instruments. Mines in position. The weapons officer confirmed. Detonate, Hakjun ordered. 12 micro-singularities appeared simultaneously. Tiny black holes, each lasting only seconds, but those seconds were enough. The gravitational forces ripped through shields like they were paper. 3 Vecren ships were consumed instantly, crushed into nothing. 4 more were crippled, their hulls torn apart by impossible forces. The remaining 5 scattered in panic, trying to understand what had attacked them. By the time they organized a response, the silent fury was already gone, vanished into faster-than-light space. The Vecren sent urgent messages to High Command. An unknown weapon had destroyed their depot. The attack was swift, precise, and completely unexpected. Commander Thexelar read the report with growing irritation. Send patrol fleets to investigate. This was probably a lucky strike by some salvage crew with stolen technology. Find them and destroy them. 3 patrol fleets jumped to the depot's coordinates. They never returned. The nanite swarms found them first. Invisible clouds of microscopic machines that attached to hull plating and began disassembling ships atom by atom. By the time the Vecren crews realized they were under attack, their vessels were already falling apart around them. Now Thexelar was worried. 3 attacks, 3 victories for the unknown enemy. High Command finally took notice. They gave Thexelar a battle group of 20 warships and orders to hunt down whoever was responsible. Thexelar welcomed the assignment. He would prove his worth by crushing these raiders. His battle group jumped to the last attack site. The moment they arrived, Thexelar knew something was wrong. His sensors showed debris from the destroyed depot, but they also showed something else. Energy signatures. Lots of them. Surrounding his position, ambush, his tactical officer screamed. 20 human warships decloaked simultaneously appearing from nowhere. They had been waiting in perfect ambush formation, invisible, patient, deadly. Thexelar's battle group found itself surrounded by an enemy that shouldn't exist. A transmission came through on all channels, a human female voice speaking perfect Vecren language. Commander Thexelar, we know who you are. We know what you did. 6 months ago, you destroyed a human exploration vessel called the Horizon. You murdered 147 peaceful explorers. You hunted down their escape pods. You killed them all. Thexelar felt something he had never experienced in 2,000 years of life. Fear. This wasn't some random attack. This was targeted. Personal. Who are you? He demanded. Captain Ji-Won Lee of the Terran Defense Fleet. My brother died on the Horizon. You killed him. Now I'm here to return the favor. You're making a mistake, Thexelar said, trying to sound confident. The Vecren sovereignty will destroy your entire species for this. Surrender now and I might show mercy. Ji-Won's laugh was cold and bitter. Mercy? Like the mercy you showed our people? No, today you learn what happens when you attack humanity. Today you learn fear. The human fleet opened fire. But these weren't normal weapons. Quantum disruption missiles streaked toward the Vecren ships, detonating in bursts of impossible energy. Thexelar felt his ship shudder as the FTL drive went offline. Around him, every ship in his battle group lost faster-than-light capability simultaneously. They were trapped. Return fire, Thexelar ordered. All weapons, maximum power. The Vecren battle group fired everything they had. Plasma bolts lit up space like a deadly light show. But the human ships moved with impossible precision, their formation shifting and flowing like a school of fish. They dodged, weaved, and counterattacked with devastating accuracy. Every shot they fired found its mark. Kinetic rounds, simple metal slugs accelerated to incredible speeds, punched through Vecren shields. The shields were designed to stop energy weapons, not solid projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. Ship after ship took catastrophic damage. Explosions bloomed across Thexelar's fleet. This is impossible, his tactical officer screamed. They're primitives. How can they fight like this? Because we underestimated them, Thexelar whispered, watching his fleet die around him. In 15 minutes, half his ships were destroyed. The rest were crippled or trying desperately to flee, but without FTL drives, there was nowhere to run. The human ships systematically destroyed every vessel except Thexelar's flagship. They surrounded it, weapons still hot, and waited. Ji-Won's voice came through again. Commander Thexelar, you're the last one alive. Your entire battle group is gone. I'm leaving you alive for one reason. You need to deliver a message. Thexelar said nothing. What could he say? Tell your leaders that humanity demands justice. 147 lives were taken. We will have payment for every single one. This is just the beginning. We're not leaving. We're not negotiating. We're coming for all of you. The human ships used their weapons to carve words into Thexelar's hull, precise laser strikes that burned through metal, leaving a message in Vecren script. When they finished, they jumped to FTL, vanishing as quickly as they appeared. Hours later, a Vecren rescue fleet arrived. They found Thexelar floating in the wreckage of his command, the sole survivor. The message carved into his ship was simple and terrifying. 47 souls demand justice. This is only the beginning. Humanity. Over the next 2 weeks, humanity struck everywhere at once. 5-star systems attacked simultaneously. Military installations destroyed. Supply convoys ambushed. Communication relays disabled. The humans appeared, struck with devastating force, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. The psychological warfare was even worse. Every Vecran communication channel was flooded with footage from the Horizon massacre. The aliens watched their own brutality broadcast back at them. Mixed with this were recordings of Vecran ships exploding, crews screaming, commanders begging for mercy that never came. Dr. Nari's team had designed the campaign perfectly. Make the enemy afraid, make them doubt, make them question whether their technology and numbers would be enough. The Vecran had dominated through intimidation for centuries. Now they were the ones being intimidated. High Commander Zarnix, the supreme military leader of the Vecran sovereignty, convened his war council in emergency session. This human threat must be eliminated immediately. How many ships do we need? Our intelligence suggests they have approximately 50 warships, an advisor reported. We should send 500. Overwhelming force. Complete annihilation. Zarnix nodded. Assemble the main battle fleet. I will lead them personally. These humans need to learn their place in the galaxy. They need to learn that the Vecran sovereignty does not tolerate defiance. He looked around the council chamber. We destroyed their first ship easily. We will destroy their entire fleet just as easily. They are primitives with a few lucky victories. Nothing more. His commanders agreed enthusiastically. 500 ships against 50. The numbers were overwhelming. The humans couldn't possibly win. This would be a massacre that would be remembered across the galaxy as proof of Vecran superiority. The Vecran fleet assembled and jumped toward the coordinates where the humans were last detected. They were heading for the Calidor Expanse, an asteroid field that offered no tactical advantages. Or so they thought. Captain Jiwan received confirmation that the Vecran were coming. She stood on the bridge of the Retribution, looking at the tactical display. Her fleet was outnumbered more than 3-1. Any conventional analysis would predict complete defeat, but Jiwan wasn't planning a conventional battle. All ships, this is Retribution actual. The enemy is approaching with their main fleet. They think they're going to crush us with superior numbers. They're wrong. We're not fighting their battle. We're fighting ours. Prepare for Operation Thunderstrike. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. The trap was set. The weapons were ready. And the Vecran were walking straight into the biggest military defeat in their history. They just didn't know it yet. The Calidor Expanse was a graveyard of ancient rocks. Thousands of asteroids drifting in silent orbits around a dying star. High Commander Zarnix's fleet of 500 warships entered the field in standard battle formation. His sensors detected 150 human vessels scattered among the asteroids. The numbers pleased him. More than 3-1 advantage. This would be over quickly. All ships advance, Zarnix ordered. Destroy every human vessel. Leave nothing but debris. The massive Vecran fleet moved forward, weapons charging. They were confident, experienced, certain of victory. They had done this dozens of times against dozens of species. Humans would be no different. On the bridge of the Retribution, Captain Jiwan watched the Vecran advance. Her fingers drummed on her command chair. Hold position. Let them come deeper. Wait for my command. The Vecran fleet pushed into the asteroid field, spreading out to engage the human ships. That's when everything changed. Hidden weapon platforms embedded in hundreds of asteroids came online simultaneously. Thousands of automated turrets, missile batteries, and kinetic accelerators opened fire at once. The Vecran had walked into a killing field. Crossfire from multiple angles shredded shields. Missiles swarmed from every direction. Asteroids that seemed like natural rocks revealed themselves as weapon platforms. In the first 2 minutes, 70 Vecran ships were destroyed or crippled. Reform. Defensive positions, Zarnix shouted. His fleet was in chaos, but they were still superior in numbers. They could recover from this. Push through. Find their command ship. The Vecran regrouped and charged forward with raw aggression. Their plasma weapons lit up space, destroying weapon platforms and asteroids alike. They were taking losses, but they were still overwhelming the humans through sheer force. Zarnix watched as human ships began retreating. Good. The primitives realized they were beaten. Captain, they're pursuing. Jiwan's tactical officer reported. Perfect, Jiwan replied calmly. Execute Phase 2. Colonel Bora, you're clear to engage. Behind the Vecran fleet, 12 ships appeared from nowhere. Ghost Squadron had been hiding in quantum stealth the entire time, invisible and patient. Colonel Bora Im's voice came through the command channel. Ghost Squadron engaging, launching nanite swarms. Clouds of microscopic machines erupted from the Ghost Squadron ships, spreading through space like invisible fog. They attached to the rear Vecran vessels, infiltrating command ships and carriers. Within minutes, communication systems began failing. Navigation went offline. Entire ships lost coordination with their fleet. What's happening? Zarnix demanded as his sensors showed ships going dark. Why are we losing communication? Then the quantum disruption missiles hit. Dozens of them detonated throughout the Vecran formation, creating localized dead zones where faster-than-light travel became impossible. The Vecran fleet couldn't escape. They couldn't call for reinforcements. They were trapped in the asteroid field with an enemy that had planned this down to the smallest detail. All ships full reverse, Jiwan ordered. The human fleet stopped retreating and wheeled around. Now the Vecran were caught between the human main force ahead and Ghost Squadron behind. The trap was complete. The battle became systematic destruction. Human ships moved in coordinated patterns, each formation supporting the others. They targeted Vecran command vessels first, cutting the head off the snake. Then they focused on carriers and support ships. Every attack was calculated, every shot placed with precision. The Vecran fought desperately, but they were fighting blind. Without communication, without coordination, without escape, individual ships tried to surrender, but Jiwan had given specific orders. She broadcast one message across all frequencies, quoting words from the Horizon's final moments. You gave us no mercy. You deserve none. The slaughter continued for 3 hours. 3 hours of relentless, precise destruction. Vecran ships exploded. Crews died, and Empire's confidence shattered piece by piece. Zarnix watched from his flagship as his invincible fleet was torn apart by an enemy he had dismissed as primitive. Sir, we've lost 400 ships, his surviving tactical officer reported, voice shaking. We have to retreat. We have to get out of here. Our FTL drives are disabled, Zarnix said numbly. There is no retreat. For 2,000 years he had commanded fleets. For 2,000 years the Vecran had been invincible. Now in a single battle, everything he believed had been proven wrong. Admiral Yunji's voice came through from Earth, transmitted across the light years to reach Jiwan. Captain Lee, this is High Command. I'm ordering a ceasefire. They're beaten. Finish it quickly, then disengage. Acknowledged, Jiwan replied. She broadcast to her fleet. All ships, ceasefire. Let the survivors flee. The quantum disruption fields faded. Approximately 30 Vecran ships, including Zarnix's flagship, had FTL capability restored. They jumped immediately, fleeing in panic and disarray. 380 ships had been destroyed. 90 more were crippled beyond repair, floating dead in space. The greatest fleet the Vecran had ever assembled had been annihilated by a force 1/3 its size. Human losses were minimal. 23 ships damaged, 4 destroyed. Every crew member who died had their name recorded, their sacrifice honored. But the victory was complete and undeniable. Jiwan stood alone on the observation deck of the Retribution, looking at the debris field. Her brother had been avenged. The Horizon crew had been avenged, but she felt no joy. Only exhaustion and the heavy weight of what they had done. Colonel Bora joined her. Captain, we're receiving transmissions from multiple alien species. They monitored the battle. Everyone in this region of space saw what we did. What are they saying? Jiwan asked. Some are congratulating us. The Vecran enslaved a lot of species over the centuries. Others are afraid. They're wondering if we'll come for them next. Bora paused. We changed everything today. The balance of power in this region just shifted completely. Jiwan activated the communications array, broadcasting on all known galactic frequencies. Her message would reach every civilization within 50 light-years. This is Captain Jiwan Lee of humanity. Today's battle was not conquest. It was justice. 6 months ago, the Vecran sovereignty destroyed a peaceful human exploration vessel. They murdered 147 unarmed explorers. Today we delivered judgment for that crime. She paused, choosing her next words carefully. Humanity did not come to this galaxy seeking war. We came seeking knowledge, cooperation, and peaceful coexistence. But we will not tolerate unprovoked aggression. Any species that attacks humans will face the same fate as the Vecran. However, Any species that approaches us peacefully will find willing partners and steadfast allies. The message included footage of the battle, showing human tactical superiority. It also included footage from the horizon, showing human peaceful intentions before the Vecran attack. G1 wanted the galaxy to understand both sides of humanity, the peaceful explorers and the fierce warriors. Within hours, responses came flooding in. The Lorath Collective, an ancient peaceful civilization, requested formal diplomatic contact. The Mektar Concordat, a military empire, sent cautious greetings and offers of non-aggression pacts. The Vrin hegemony, traders and merchants, saw economic opportunities. Even species that had been neutral sent congratulations to humanity for defeating the Vecran. On Earth, celebrations erupted across every city. Humanity had won, not just a battle, but respect, fear, recognition. The species that had been alone in the universe was now a major player in galactic affairs. Admiral Yunji addressed the planet from the Defense Command Center. Today, humanity proved that we belong among the stars. We proved that our peaceful nature is not weakness. We proved that when threatened, we will defend ourselves with overwhelming force. The Horizon's crew did not die in vain. Their sacrifice gave us purpose, unity, and the determination to never be victims again. In Vecran space, High Commander Zarnix returned to the homeworld in disgrace. His fleet was destroyed. His reputation was ruined. Worst of all, subordinate species across Vecran territory were beginning to rebel. If humans could defeat the Vecran, maybe others could too. The Empire's foundation of fear and intimidation was cracking. Zarnix stood before the Supreme Council, ancient leaders who had ruled for millennia. The humans are more dangerous than we believed, he reported. They use tactics we've never encountered, weapons we've never seen. They fight with precision and purpose, and they will not stop until they feel justice has been served. Then what do you recommend? The council leader asked coldly. Zarnix lowered his head in shame. Negotiation, peace, before they destroy us completely. The words were bitter poison. The Vecran sovereignty had never negotiated as equals. They had always dictated terms, but now they had no choice. Humanity had broken them militarily and psychologically. The Empire was collapsing from within, and somewhere out in space, human ships waited, watching, ready to strike again if needed. The age of Vecran dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun. 6 months after the Battle of Kalidor Expanse, Ambassador Sora Kwan stepped off the transport ship onto Korath Station. The massive space station served as neutral ground for galactic diplomacy, a place where dozens of alien species met to negotiate, trade, and observe each other. Sora was the first human ambassador to set foot here, and every species in the region was watching. She walked through corridors filled with aliens of every imaginable form. Some were tall and elegant. Others were small and mechanical. A few looked almost human. Many looked nothing like anything Earth had ever imagined. They all stopped to watch the human pass, some with curiosity, some with fear, some with respect. Elder Counselor Theron of the Lorath Collective met her at the council chamber entrance. The ancient being resembled a floating collection of light and energy, its form shifting constantly. Its voice was musical and kind. Ambassador Sora, welcome to Korath Station. Your species has made quite an impression in a very short time. We didn't have a choice, Sora replied diplomatically. The Vecran forced our hand. We would have preferred peaceful first contact. I believe you, Theron said. The Lorath have watched humanity since you first left your homeworld. We see both sides of your nature. The explorers and the warriors. It is a rare combination. Come, the council awaits. The council chamber was enormous, with seats arranged in concentric circles. Representatives from 23 different species filled the room. The 5 major powers occupied the inner circle: the Lorath Collective, the Mektar Concordat, the Vrin Hegemony, the Talax Federation, and one empty seat where the Vecran sovereignty once sat. Sora stood in the center and spoke clearly. Representatives of the Galactic Council, I am Ambassador Sora Kwan of Earth. I come with a message from humanity. We acknowledge that our entry into galactic affairs was violent. We regret that our first interaction with alien life resulted in war. However, we do not apologize for defending ourselves against unprovoked aggression. She activated a holographic display, showing the Horizon's final moments. 6 months ago, we sent explorers into space seeking knowledge and friendship. The Vecran destroyed them for the crime of existing. Today, we stand before you not as conquerors, but as a species demanding respect and offering partnership to those willing to meet us as equals. The room erupted in debate. Some species supported humanity's admission to the Council. Others argued that humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable. The Mektar representative, a massive armored being, spoke carefully. Humanity defeated the Vecran in a matter of weeks. The Vecran dominated this region for 2 millennia. How do we know you won't turn your weapons on us next? Because we gain nothing from conquest, Sora answered. We have resources in our own star system. We have technology advancing rapidly. We don't need territory. We need knowledge, trade partners, and security. We offer a simple proposition. Leave us in peace and we leave you in peace. Attack us and face the consequences. Ally with us and gain a powerful friend. Elder Theron spoke next. The Lorath Collective supports humanity's inclusion in this council. We have observed their actions carefully. They showed restraint when they could have pursued total vengeance. They offered terms to the Vecran when they could have destroyed them completely. This speaks to wisdom and mercy, not just military strength. While the council debated, something else was happening across Vecran space. The enslaved species that the Vecran had dominated for centuries were rising in rebellion. The Durath, who had been slaves for 500 years, led the uprising. Their leader Crix contacted human military forces directly. Admiral Jiwan Lee, now promoted and commanding the Terran Defense Fleet, met with Crix via secure transmission. The Durath leader looked exhausted but determined. Admiral Lee, my people are fighting for freedom. The Vecran are weak now because of your victory. But we need help. Weapons, training, support. Jiwan consulted with Earth before responding. The decision came quickly. We will provide non-combat support. Weapons, intelligence, advisors. But we won't invade Vecran space again. Your freedom must be won by your own hands. Otherwise it won't last. Crix accepted gratefully. Over the next 3 months, human advisors trained Durath forces. Human weapons strengthened rebel armies. Human intelligence identified Vecran weak points. The rebellion spread to 4 other enslaved species. The Vecran sovereignty, already weakened by military defeat, began collapsing from within. On Korath Station, the Galactic Council finally reached a decision. Ambassador Sora was called back to the chamber. Elder Theron spoke for the council. Humanity's admission to this council has been approved. However, it comes with conditions. You must agree to respect existing territorial boundaries. You must agree to submit disputes to council arbitration before resorting to military action. And you must prove your commitment to cooperation, not domination. We accept all conditions, Sora replied immediately. Humanity seeks partnership, not empire. The formal acceptance ceremony took place 1 week later. Representatives from dozens of species attended. Sora stood before the council and took an oath on behalf of all humanity. We pledge to uphold the principles of this council. We pledge to seek peace before war. We pledge to defend not just ourselves, but any species threatened by aggression. And we pledge to remember that strength without wisdom leads only to tyranny. The final matter was the Vecran sovereignty's punishment. The council convened a tribunal to judge their actions. Evidence was presented. Testimony was heard. Lieutenant Deho's final transmission was played for all to witness. Former Vecran slaves described centuries of abuse and oppression. The verdict was unanimous. The Vecran sovereignty was found guilty of crimes against sentient life. Their territory was reduced to their home system. Their military was limited to defensive forces only. They were stripped of their council seat and placed under sanctions. High Commander Zarnix was exiled, forbidden from ever commanding military forces again. Ambassador Sora watched the verdict with mixed emotions. Justice had been served. The 147 souls of the horizon were finally at peace. But she also understood that this moment meant something larger. The balance of power in this region of space had fundamentally changed. The newly independent species led by the Durath formed an alliance with humanity. The Alliance of Free Worlds was born, dedicated to mutual defense and democratic cooperation. Within months, it included 7 species and controlled strategic territory. They weren't the largest power block, but they were united by shared values and recent triumph. On Earth, Admiral Jiwan Lee stood down from active military command. She had done what needed to be done. She had avenged her brother and the Horizon crew, but the cost weighed on her soul. She visited the memorial built for the fallen, a simple monument showing all 147 names carved in stone. Captain Jihoon Park's wife and children were there, laying flowers. Ji-won approached them hesitantly. "I wanted you to know," she said quietly. "Your husband and father died trying to make peaceful contact. His dream of cooperation between species is becoming real. We're building alliances now, not empires. He would be proud." Jihoon's wife smiled through tears. "Thank you. Thank you for making sure they didn't die for nothing." Earth launched a new generation of exploration vessels, each named after a Horizon crew member. The first, KHNS Captain Jihoon Park, departed on a mission to catalog habitable worlds in the Andromeda sector. But this time the ship didn't travel alone. It was escorted by warships and carried representatives from 3 allied species. Humanity had learned its lesson. Explore in peace, but never be defenseless. 1 year after the Horizon's destruction, Ambassador Sora delivered a speech at the anniversary memorial. Representatives from allied species attended. Even some former enemies sent respectful messages. The galaxy was watching humanity define itself. 1 year ago, we lost 147 brave souls, Sora began. They went into space seeking knowledge and friendship. What they found was violence and death. Their sacrifice forced humanity to make a choice. Would we retreat in fear? Would we seek blind revenge? Or would we stand firm, demand justice, and build something better? She looked at the assembled crowd, human and alien together. We chose the hard path. We fought when we had to fight. We showed mercy when victory was ours. We built alliances instead of empires. Today, humanity stands not as conquerors but as defenders, not as isolationists but as partners. The Horizon's crew dreamed of a galaxy where species cooperate in peace. We are making that dream real. Her final words echoed across Earth and through every human colony. We came to the stars in peace. When war found us, we answered with fury. Now we stand ready to defend the defenseless, to challenge the tyrants, and to forge a future where no ship ventures into the unknown alone. This is our promise to the galaxy. This is our promise to the 147 heroes who showed us the way. This is humanity. The speech was broadcast across known space. It was translated into dozens of languages. It was debated in council chambers and discussed in marketplaces. Humanity had announced not just its military strength but its moral vision. They were not conquerors.